The Alvin and the Chipmunks movies. A phenomenon in their own right. But what if I told you that there's a terrible fourth one that you don't remember? Yes, there is a shitty fourth Alvin and the Chipmunks movie called Alvin and the Chipmunks fucking The Road Chip. Yes, The Road Chip. Which obviously are playing words of the road trip. But first of all, how on earth did Alvin and the Chipmunks begin? Well, simple really. In 2007, a Chipmunks movie came out where this guy named Dave he's basically a struggling musician and that, and then he writes songs for the Chipmunks and they sing the songs, become famous. Ian Hawke steals the Chipmunks, wants the fame and that, overuses them, they're starting to get tired of that. They don't call him Uncle Ian anymore because they don't want to do the European tour. So basically, at the end of the day, they're singing Chipmunks. That is literally it. Alvin is the main one, fucking Simon and Theodore. And that is the whole premise. They're singing Chipmunks. Chipmunks which sing. Now, I mean, the movie itself is absolutely rubbish. But people, for some reason, seem to really like this shit. The second one is basically, again, it's basically the same thing, but you get the Chipettes involved, which are basically just the Chipmunks, but girl versions, and I can't remember all their names. Then the third one, where it's basically, they go on a cruise, but they get stuck on an island because they get shipwrecked, but it's called Chipwrecked because it's, again, playing the words of chipmunk. So, yeah. And those are the first three, which aren't good at all, anyway. But they're better than 4. Now, what makes 4 so bad? Well, first of all, there is no Ian Hawke, which is in the 3 other movies. So straight away, you're missing like a very important character there. I mean, obviously, there's no way they could have wrote him into this one, surely to God. But the basic premise of the movie is Dave's girlfriend and the Chipmunks. Basically, the Chipmunks move in with Dave's girlfriend, and he's like this woman's son or whatever, right? And guess what happens here? The Chipmunks do not get along with the son. So, overall, it ends up, blah, blah, blah. You see some of the scenes of them not get along. They're playing mini-golf. Fucking the son, I can't remember his name. It really doesn't matter, does it? Hits him with Miles, that's it. Hits him with a fucking thing on purpose. With a golf ball on purpose. So anyway, it's just scenes like that to establish that they don't like each other, right? The Chipmunks and the kid, Miles. So then, it turns out that Dave and his fucking girlfriend or whatever are going away. But it turns out that Alvin has saw a wedding ring. So they think that he's going to propose, obviously. But it turns out later that he's not. But either way, we'll get to that. So then what basically happens is they decide, after like about a day or something, they work out, hold on a minute, we don't like each other. If they get married, we have to live with each other forever, like. Well, for ages anyway. So they decide to go on a road trip and stop the wedding, well, the proposal itself, by like going there and fucking everything up and ruining everything. It's basically, it gets really dumb. And of course, Miles knows how to play guitar, which obviously, of course he does, because, it's like one of these movies where you got like a singing character, and then obviously the person which we don't know anything about, all of a sudden he can sing and play an instrument as well. So yeah, he plays the guitar and the Chipmunks sing some songs. And then we get into the part which is really bad. The villain, quote unquote, the villain, called fucking Agent James something. Basically, what makes him so bad is, well, he's a flight marshal for one. So they get on, Alvin and the Chipmunks get on the plane and Miles and that. It's all going smoothly until it doesn't, where Alvin fucks everything up. And somehow Theodore ends up in the cargo department with the other animals. I don't know how that happened, I can't remember. It doesn't really matter, does it? Either way, basically, Alvin meets this Agent James, whoever it is, right? The flight marshal or whatever. And then, basically, the flight marshal says Alvin ruined, and the Chipmunks, all of them, not just Alvin, that Alvin ruined his relationship with his girlfriend. And then you see a flashback of him and his like ex-girlfriend and that, with the Alvin and the Chipmunks Christmas song playing in the background. And he says basically, we're done, the Chipmunks grow up. And this, for some reason, means that Agent James has got to get revenge on the Chipmunks somehow. I mean, apparently that's what ended his relationship, and he's blaming the Chipmunks. Even though he liked the Chipmunks before, and now he no longer likes the Chipmunks, and he has a vendetta against the Chipmunks. He puts them on the no-flying list. They escape from the guy, which I don't know what he was trying to do, kill him or something. Either way, they run away, and then basically this flight marshal, he would have got the sack by now, obviously. He's leaving his post, still in his job, not showing up, to chase Chipmunks across the United States of America, or wherever this is set. But yeah, he leaves the post, obviously, and then at the end of the day, it's basically just them chasing him around, well, him chasing the Chipmunks and Miles around. Some miscellaneous adventures go on, blah, blah, blah. Dave, actually, they don't even get to Dave. Like, Dave sees them on, like, a TikTok video or something performing. Probably not TikTok, because it was, like, 2015. But anyway, on social media. And, like, he comes and somehow finds them, and then they are driven back to the place where Dave and that other one are staying. And then later it turns out that Alvin swiped the ring, for one, out of the wedding ring box somehow. I don't know how he did that. Well, before Dave left with it to go down to dinner with his girlfriend, and they had to stay in the room, all of them, Miles and the Chipmunks. But then, turns out, well, first of all, Miles goes on a bit of a tangent before this next bit. Miles goes on a bit of a tangent because they're celebrating, yeah, we did it, woohoo, they're not getting married in that. Oh, even though they could just, do it later. What do you mean? But anyway, yeah, so he's like, yeah, the Chipmunks are like, yeah, we did it. And then Miles is like, oh, for fuck's sake, I thought we had a good time here. So then he storms off, and then he nearly gets ran over by a car with some headphones. He had headphones on, so he couldn't hear the car, so he nearly gets ran over by a car. But Theodore somehow saves him, gets hit by a car, even though he's a chipmunk. And then they all act like, oh, Theodore saved you, even though he didn't really. The car wasn't even going that quickly. But yeah, the car could have easily stopped. And either way, he's saved, and then he's like, oh, thanks for that, you do care then. And then, yeah. And then they, like, sort of realise, oh, shit, we have to get this ring back. And then it sort of turns out later that Dave, when they say, oh, we nicked it, and it turns out that he wasn't trying to propose at all. He was just holding on to it for his co-worker or something along those lines, which means they fucked up that guy who's married instead, proposed instead. And I can't remember how it ends. But, honest to God, I imagine there's just a music dance scene or something, and the villain shows up one more time, gets beaten or something, and then it ends. So, yeah, what on earth was this movie about then? Watch it. It's absolutely terrible. I mean, it's Alvin and the Chipmunks, isn't it? But you can't get... This is the worst one by far. Honest to God. Alvin and the Chipmunks, the road chip. Terrible.